Welcome to a new video. This is Mo, your presenter, and I'm glad to be your guide in today's video where we're going to be discussing how you could generate images from text using one of the models devised by Stability AI. In today's video, we're going to be exploring the main concept of generating images from text, and then we're going to be moving on to the development environment, and then we're going to see how we can implement that and tweak it a little bit. And then we're going to end the video on a good note with some reflections and some ideas. So starting with the main concept of text to image generation, as you can see on the screen, if you go to Microsoft Copilot and then you type in any sort of prompt that you could think of, like generate an image about a construction site with some construction workers in the background, and make sure that there's a depth to the photo generated. You can find a number of photographs like that one for argument's sake, where you could find that there's a construction worker and then there's some blurring in the background. So that is mainly the concept of generating images from text. And then we're going to be exploring today how to do it locally using one of the models of Stability AI. In order to implement such a solution, you need to have some requirements in place. First one is GitHub Desktop from GitHub website. The second one is having Python installed, Python programming language. And the third one is having an integrated development environment such as VS Code or PyCharm installed on your machine. And we're going to be showcasing how to do that in a bit. So the first requirement that you need to have is get SCM. So the way you get it is go to that website, which I'm going to be putting in the description of this video, and then you download the 64 version Git. We have installed the first requirement, which is Git, and now it's time to install Python programming language. You go on the python.org/downloads, and then you download whatever version you would please. That is the latest version. I do have, I think, 3.11.5 installed on my machine. It doesn't really matter which version that you install. The third requirement is an integrated development environment like VS Code. So that is my IDE of choice. I have worked a lot with it and I develop a lot of them codes with it. So you can go to code.visualstudio.com and then you can download the latest version from here. I'll put a link for these three in the video description. Having installed Get SCM, Python, and an integrated development environment, it's now time to put them into practice. So if you have created a folder on your machine, I've created one which I called stability_AI, and then right click on it, open inside or in terminal, and then you would have command prompt opening to yourself. You can then put in the code, which is git clone, and then the directory or the URL of that specific repository on GitHub, and it will download the whole thing for you. When you press enter, it's going to take some time because it's a large repository. I'm going to give you an overview now. So you would find a lot of them folders which contain lots of them codes in order to build the web UI by that team. And then you would find that there is a folder called models. That folder is supposed to be empty at the first hand. So you would need an actual large language model to be put in that folder. The way to do it is go to your browser, whatever it is, and then go to the Hugging Face website, click on models, and then type in run WAYML, and it's the first one, which is Stable Diffusion version 1.5. If you click on that one, you will then scroll down, you'll see that you have two models, one which is 4 GB and it uses less VRAM suitable for inference, which is what we need, and another one which is quite close to 8 GB, which is suitable for fine-tuning, and that's not what we need. If you click on that one, and then you can download it inside your models folder, go inside of it, and then go to Stable Diffusion, and as you can see here, I have put in the model that I have downloaded. Another thing that we need to keep in mind is we need to make sure that we have the latest GitHub repository used in that specific case. So in order to do that, make sure you go to the folder where you saved your repository, scroll down to the bottom, and then you will find that there is a file called webui-user.bat. Right click on it and then say that you want to edit it in Notepad, you will find that there is a file that has opened to you. I have added that line at the very top to make sure that it's pulling the latest repository or directory from GitHub. Save it using Control S, and that's it. And now we're ready for action. As you see on the screen, when you click on the weebui-user.bat for the first time, it's going to give you a common prompt where it's installing all of the packages required. So it's now installing PyTorch. I think there's a lot of other packages that it's going to install as well. So stay patient and revisit it after a while after it had installed all of them required packages. And as you can see here on the screen, it finished the installation. It had to install a lot of them packages in order for the initiative to work. I think it takes about 5 to 7 minutes. That's on my machine. It might be different on your machine, but that's something to mention. Also, if you're working in an organization and you're using the organization laptop, I think some of them packages might not be installed because of the path problem in Windows 10 or Windows in general, which is I think the maximum path length is about 260 characters. So that's something to be wary of. And then after installing all of them packages, it's now time to put it into practice. So let's go to Copilot and then copy paste the original prompt that we have created in the beginning of this video, and then go to Stable Diffusion where it opens locally a web UI user interface on the web so that you could use it. So let's copy the prompt and let's have an overview about what's existed in here. So as you can see here, there is a prompt that you going to be copying and pasting or writing yourself. There is an image to image capability. There is a text to image capability as well. And then in the generation, there's a lot of parameters. So let's figure out some of them parameters. So sampling steps, these are the number of images that the computer is going to create in order to provide one final output. So the more images that you are going to need, or the more images that you want the computer to go through, the higher the VRAM that's going to be required, and vice versa. And then we go to refine. As you can see here, refine is related to the functionality of smoothing the faces generated by stability AI models, because stability AI is known to produce some sort of distorted faces. So I don't know, like let's check that one. High resolution fixation is related to the upscaling required for the images to increase the size. As you can see here, you could manipulate the size. Here it's 500 by 12 pixels by 512 pixels. The batch count is how many images that you want to create. So let's say I want 3 images for argument's sake. And here for the batch size, the recommendation from the GitHub repository is that you use one other. And if you want to use a value that is more than one, then you have to make sure that you have a high end computer. And then we here have something called CFG scale. That is related to the temperature, how much you want the model to be more creative. So the higher the value here, the less creative the model is going to be, and the more it's going to be sticking too much to the prompt that you are providing here. And the less value, the more creative the model is going to be. And then for the seed, as you can see here, that is quite related to if you want to have random images generated every time, or if you want to have the same images generated every time. And as you can see here, there's a wide range of extras and settings that you could manipulate, and you could basically tweak them in order to reach out the results that you want. Concerning the licensing, I'm not entirely sure about its capability of being used in a commercial space. So you have to be speaking directly and liaising with Stability AI team. And lastly here, as you could see, you could change where you want to save the outputs of the text to images, or the images. And let's put it into practice. So generate, we're going to be using the basic parameters and click on generate. So as you can see, it's generating something. The faces are still distorted, as you could possibly see. They are not the best. That face is quite distorted. It doesn't sound right. That one is pretty decent to say the least. I'm not gonna lie, because it doesn't have faces. It's just construction work. Again, the faces are quite distorted, as you can see here. The Stability AI is not the best when it comes to face generation. So let's try without the refine. Let's see what is going to happen here. I'm not sure what's that because it's a part of a construction equipment, but let's see the other ones. Yeah, it's still distorted, massively distorted, if I'm being honest. But I think with the refine, it was a little bit better. And as you can see here, that is how you can put that model into practice and generate something with it. Having seen the whole system in place, it appears that it is quite easy to implement on a wide variety of them computers, given that they are beefy enough to handle the graphical requirements. And concerning these cases, there are a wide variety of them. You can use this model to create your own images, to illustrate difficult concepts, and to create a brand for yourself. And concerning the legal requirements, you have to contact Stability AI team in order to understand further what are the licensing requirements. That's all for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Until another one, take care. Cheers, guys.